Hi there. Today I'm going to be explaining how to solve complex quadratic equations, factor them, and find their solutions using the crisscross method. And here in Ontario, we really focus on solving quadratic equations. More or less the adopted method is the product sum rule. While I agree with that method, it is quite efficient. I find it, at times it is time consuming, and if you're really crunched on time in a test or a quiz, it's more efficient if you know another method. I've seen two other methods which are very efficient, very quick, and they do require maybe a little bit higher level of skill. But the crisscross method, I find I've learned that since I was 13 years old. And I found that method was very quick, very precise, and at the same time it saves you a lot of time. It doesn't really follow a rubric, but it's mainly in looking at factoring out terms. So we're going to start off with solving quadratic equations using the crisscross method. So I'll start off with one equation. It's going to be a complex quadratic, and it is okay, so we'll start off with 5x squared plus 10x plus 5. Now, so using the crisscross method, what you're going to do is you're going to focus on the first term in the trinomial and the last term. So on the first term, we're going to look at what are the factors that make up 5x squared. Now, that is pretty, it's a simple odd number. So the factors that make up 5, for example, are 5 and 1. So in this case, we have an x squared, so we have to take that into account. So we have 5x and x. Now for the last term, we're going to also look at our last term. We have 5. So what are the factors that make up 5? We know that. We just did that now. The factors that make up 5 are 5 and 1. Now here, what we're going to do is we're going to look at arranging the 5 and 1 as a combination, vertical combination, or we can arrange it 1 and 5. So the order of the last term can vary. It doesn't necessarily have to be 5 and 1. It could be 1 and 5. And again, another thing that the last term's sign can vary as well. We're going to get to that in a second. So we're going to look at crossing the first term in the first column and the second term in the second column. So we get 5x times 1. 5x times 1 gives you 5x. And then the second term in the first column, we have 1x times 5, and that's going to give you, again, 5x. So the important part is here. We found our two crossed values, and then we're going to look and see, do they combine in any way to give you 10x? So 5 plus 5 gives you 10. So these two have to be positive values. And in order for them to be positive, these two must stay positive. Now that won't work in all cases. We're going to look at another example of a quadratic where you're going to have to manipulate the sign. But in this case it works well, so the sign stays positive and our combination is 5x. So the next step is to take your first combination. So here is going to be your first combination for the first factor, and this is the second combination for the second factor. And then we're going to put that together to form the factor terms. So put an equal sign. You have 5x plus 5, and then you have x plus 1. Now, if you look a little bit further, the 5 and the 5x and plus 5 can further be factored, but in that sense we can take a greatest common factor. So greatest common factor is going to be 5. And then what's left is x plus 1 and x plus 1. And then these two are the same factor, so it becomes x plus 1 squared. So 5 into x plus 1 squared. And that is the first part of this sequence of solving quadratics using the crisscross method. We're going to go over a couple more problems in the next videos, and I hope this was beneficial and helped you out. This very important task of factoring and math.